Hi, and welcome to lesson 6 of the QFS program, Reframing the Mind, a Prosperity Consciousness, right? But before we can actually dive into this lesson, um, we need to understand a couple things. Last lesson, we were really talking about how our mind brings in these ideas, these thoughts, right? And how our conscious mind play around with these ideas. Yeah. So when it comes to our results, if we don't take that thought, that idea, that dream, that that future that we want and impress it as a feeling, we're not going to get into the vibration to create the result. Okay. And this is something that I've learned in the last little bit over 2020 specifically, because the beginning of 2020, I had an idea and I didn't know how I was going to actually get it done. And you can ask a few people who were around me. When I was thinking about this program that we're looking at today, it was just an idea, and I was trying to run workshops on Facebook, and I think it was called the Financial Mastery something, right? um, like I said, it was an idea, right? We play around with an idea long enough, we create something that's extraordinary, right? We can actually create the 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 solution for somebody else, or we can create a system that's going to help somebody else out, right? Or we can do something that's really going to expand the mind of another person, right? It's whatever our perception of the situation that's going on, wherever our perception is in that, that's really what's going to set that vibration up. Okay. So I put this image up here because our conscious mind is the top and our subconscious mind is the feeling mind, right? I call it our heart because when we are, just like our heart holds on to emotion and lost love or whatever that we tend to hold on to emotionally, same thing with our subconscious mind. It holds on to everything that we're excited about, everything that we fear, everything, right? It does not have the ability to reject anything. It doesn't have the ability to do it, right? So whatever we give it, that's what we're going to create. Okay. And that's why I like this lesson, because we're reframing our mind so that we can dive into creating a better life, right? And it starts in our mind. It really does. And some people say it doesn't, but mindset, if you really go back over the years, uh, um, and you can find many words or many texts or whatever about this, uh, mindset specifically doesn't really involve many different things when it comes to just mindset specifically, right? It's a large expansion of ideas. It's never ending. So it is upon us and our impression of it that's really going to change our perception into to this prosperity side of things, right? Because it's a feeling. If we're not feeling prosperous, we're going to bring more unprosperous things into our experience. So let's dive into this lesson. I'm excited. Lesson 6. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger or something. I don't know if I can. I don't know. Okay, anyways, lesson 6. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to actually move this out of the way to the top. There we go. reframing the mind, a prosperity consciousness. I'm just going to have a quick sip of my celery juice. In this lesson, we will learn the concepts around the tools of our mind, how our minds, right down to our thinking, must be in a certain state, a certain feeling, and our vibration through our body will respond accordingly. It will match to how we feel and give us our desires. Awesome. Developing a prosperity consciousness to the point that it is completely automatic has been recognized as one of the most important skills to become a successful individual. When it comes to learning, but how can we feel this prosperity consciousness, right? How can we feel this? And what is a prosperity consciousness anyway, right? Some people don't know what it is. What is it? So here's the difference. The money consciousness and or prosperity consciousness, they are not the same thing, okay? Although you will occasionally see someone refer them as if they are, okay? A prosperity consciousness is a focus on becoming prosperous, even wealthy. A money consciousness is becoming aware of the financial implications, inheriting in their daily activities. Okay, so you can see the difference completely. They are different. I do put this in here as well, right? The money consciousness is not focused on becoming rich as such, but on becoming money conscious, okay? Aware of how money affects your life, what the financial implications are in any particular activity in your life, right? Implement the money consciousness. Identify the questions you want to ask yourself. This is the questions below, okay? These are a list. In any situation that could possibly involve a financial obligation, I want you to include these questions, okay? These are questions that have helped me when I've invested my money into something, and I've invested my money in a lot of different things. Many people have been following me, including Melissa on the call here, has seen me invest in different things. And my money's still in a lot of these things, right? When we're an entrepreneur, we're always investing and taking risks to see the rewards, right? So these are some of the questions that I brought with me on my investment journey. Okay. So, number one, this is a really good question to ask yourself, right? If I decide to do this, how much will it cost? Are there alternatives, perhaps less expensive, or a better way to achieve my goal, right? We always have a goal or a target that we're looking to achieve when we're spending money on something. Even if it's a pair of shoes, we want to have a better comfort on our feet, right? Number two, if I do this now, how will I pay for it now? Is it best, most cost effective to do it now or later, right? These are really great questions, okay? Number three, do I really want to do this? Now, this really is where it's at, right? Number three, because if you're doing something just based off of instinct, you put yourself back into animalistic ideas, animalistic creation, right? We were put on this earth to evolve and evolve others. Okay. So, and we were given the thing that actually deciphers us apart was that we could adapt, right? We're adaptable beings. We have consciousness within us, right? It's the energy. And we're going to tap into this later as we get into this, right? So, number three, do I really want to do this? Or are there other things I would rather spend my available expenses on, right? Notice I said available expenses because when we spend, sometimes we put ourselves further back because we never had the actual money to do that, but we wanted it, right? So this is something that kind of helps you self-reflect at the same time as you're asking yourself, do I actually want to do this? Do I need this? Right? Is it something that's going to align me to my goal? Right? Number four, this is something I ask myself on a daily basis because everything that I do has to align me to the next step towards I'm going, right? So, number four, if I make this choice today, would I consider it to be a good decision tomorrow, right? This is a huge question because if we're doing things based out of instinct, it's not really going to align us and we're going to feel guilt or lack. We're going to feel that lack tomorrow and then start doubting ourselves, right? It's something that I've experienced. So these questions really help me to really stay focused on my spending decisions, right? Okay, so perhaps we need some extra encouragement. I threw this in, okay? You may want to write these questions on large print on a note or a card, okay? Something easy to carry with you on your purchasing ventures, right? When we're out and about, it's almost like a gold card, right? Like Bob talks about, right? Um, put these questions on it, carry it with you. It will help you make the better decisions when it comes to spending, right? A lot of people operate when it comes to spending. They come into to money and I'm speaking from experience. I've done this myself, right? We come into large amounts of money and we're just like, oh, I want to spend. Oh, I want this. I want this. I want that. I want that. I want this, right? It happens. I've done it, right? It happens to lots of us. It happens to a lot of us, right? So this keeps us more money conscious. Okay. This is what you write on the card or note on the front. This is what I want you to write on the front. Is this a smart spending decision? Okay. That's what you write on the front of it. And on the back, you're going to write the following questions that we were just reading. And I want you to write them in your own tense form. Okay. Write them in your own words if you can. If you can't, go ahead, use the same ones, but it's more creative when you put it in your own words and it's more authentic, right? So let us really turn to beauty, okay? Yes, beauty is an opulent form of thought, okay? And that's why we've thrown it in here. Beauty is also known as our intuitive side as we line to this consciousness, okay? It brings us a fulfilling, abundant experience It is our environment that shapes and molds us. When you completely tap into, or you tap in, and you become a much fuller self. When you completely tap in, you become a much fuller self. I had to say that again. It allows these fundamentals to take root, right? It allows them to take root. It is in beauty we find the true form of our foundation in mindset. Okay. This is where we find our foundation. Okay. This must come forth out of us, right? Ask yourself, what is the most beautiful form in which I can express the good I intend, right? What is it I want to create, right? Beauty is the intuitive recognition of the supreme living quality of thought, okay? As we dive into our inner beauty, we will understand that our capabilities are grand. We can do marvelous things we see others do, okay? We can do marvelous things that we see others do. In most cases, in my experience, the prosperity consciousness can be referred to also as a state of absolute gratitude and faith. Okay. 98% of people today need to retrain their brains to feel good now. Our thoughts control our emotions, which end determine our actions, right? And our actions are what bring us all our results in life, okay? So our thoughts control our emotions, which in turn our actions, and our actions bring us our results in life, okay? Just remember that energy is, you choose, okay? You choose. And it's based on conditions, circumstances, environment that creates this results, okay? So if your environment is not good, but your conditions and circumstances are good, the environment still has to change because you're not going to be fully aligned, okay? Our minds are amazing, and and can bring us our dreams if we allow it, okay? You see, we are given specific tools to help us along. These tools are what makes us different from all living creatures, right? On this planet. These tools, if you used properly, can transform our lives dramatically, okay? These tools are also known as our higher faculties, and in which they are developed will determine all actions and results. This is why it is highly recommended to and extremely important to understand how to not only use these tools, but also develop them. Schools today do not teach these concepts, especially about the higher faculties. What are these higher faculties? We have 6 mental faculties to be exact. And with each one, we develop a new understanding into who we are. The mental faculties open the door to your full potential. We also have physical senses: hear, taste, touch, sight, and smell. When we utilize our mind's tools with these specific senses, it will also bring our vision to life. Okay. Our physical senses and, and mental tools are there for us to help create exactly it is that we want or desire. Like I said, there are six. Let's dive into these six tools. The six tools are as follows: reason, memory, intuition, imagination, perception, and the will. So before we actually dive into the rest of this doc, we're going to play a short video here. And Bob Proctor, one of my amazing mentors, coaches, is going to explain the mental faculties in 6 minutes. Okay. He's going to explain it in 6 minutes.
Well, then, welcome on, Bob Proctor. You've often heard me say in seminars and speeches I've made that we are truly God's highest form of creation. And I firmly believe that. What makes us God's highest form of creation? What separates us from all the other little creatures on the planet? You know, all the other little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. You and I are totally disoriented in our environment. And that is because we've been given the mental faculties to create our own environment. We are truly creative beings. We have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. 6 higher faculties. We have memory. There's no such thing as a bad memory. Everyone has a perfect memory. Going by Harry Lorraine and Jerry Lucas's book, The Memory Book, you can develop your memory to a phenomenal degree. Everyone has a perfect memory. Most of them have weak memories. Perception. It's how you see things. We know that our perception is our reality. Let's suppose I have a problem. I'll tell you what I do. I take and I write the problem out as clear as I possibly can. I read it out in such a way that if I give it to you, you'd be seeing it exactly the way I'm seeing it. I'll put it in the middle of a table. Then I'll sit and I'll look at it and I'll say, now, is that problem in me or is it on the paper? And I work at it until I get it on the paper and get it out of me.
It works.
Then I'm looking at the situation, the problem as a challenge. It's something that I can look at objectively as a stranger might. Then I'll go and I'll sit the other side of the table. I'll physically move and I'll say, how would Napoleon Hill look at this? And I would attempt to get in Hill's energy and get his perception of it. Then I may go sit at another place on the table and I do the same thing. And I might say, how would Thomas Edison look at this? Then I might go and sit at another place and say, how would Henry Ford look at this? And I would mentally look at it and think, if I were them, how would I look at this? I guarantee you, you'll see the opportunity in the problem. That's how you solve it. That's how you use perception. You change. I like the way our good friend Wayne Dyer used to put it. He said, when you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes. Then you have the will. You know, when John Kennedy asked Dr. Werner von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a person to the moon and bring him back safely to Earth, von Braun answered him in 5 words. He said, the will to do it. You see, the will is that mental faculty that gives you the ability to hold one idea on the screen of your mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. It gives you the ability to concentrate. When you concentrate, your thoughts increase in amplitude of vibration. Your thoughts become much more powerful. You have the ability to raise and lower your own power through your thinking. Well, that's what the will is for, to hold one idea, the exclusion of all outside distractions that are begging your attention through your senses. Then we have imagination. Napoleon Hill said it's the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world's ever known. Do you know the building you're in was nothing but an image in somebody's mind at one time? That's all it was. You have a marvelous imagination. You can create whatever you want, your imagination. And I'm going to tell you something. When you get a picture here, you've gone there. That place exists. There is a place. You've raised yourself, put yourself on a higher frequency of thought. Nothing's created or destroyed. Whenever we build an image in our mind, we're capable of doing it. See, it wasn't too long ago, and if somebody had talked about having one of these things, you'd have thought they're out of their mind.
Steve Jobs.
Today, they're commonplace. Imagination. Then we have reason. Reason, right reason. Most people reason away their success. Reason is where you pluck thoughts out of the ether. You create thoughts. You can pick up thoughts. Thoughts are floating around, other people's thoughts, or you can create them. You create them because you've got what's called an inductive reasoning factor, and you pull thoughts and build them together, and you build an idea. And if you don't like the idea, take another thought and add it. You keep adding thoughts till you got the idea you want.
Mm.
Reason. Think. How can I fix this? How can I do that? You do it through thinking. You build an image in your mind through thoughts. Thinking is the highest function that you're capable of. I like the way Anderson put it. He said, when we fully realize that thought causes all, we'll know there's never any limits that we ourselves do not impose.
Mm.
You have intuition. Intuition is that marvelous mental faculty that gives us the conscious ability to pick up vibration, pick up another person's thoughts, to read their energy. Person is a mass of energy and a high speed of vibration. That's really what they are. And you can pick up their energy and you can read it. You can tell what's going on. Intuition is God's way of talking to you. That's where the universe, you pick up the vibrations and you can feel it. It's a marvelous, marvelous tool. I have become very intuitive. Usually when you see a person that's intuitive, you say, my goodness, they're psychic. And we look at that as a bad thing. Everyone's psychic.
Yes.
Psyche is a Greek word for mind. You have a marvelous mind. But understand this, the mind is perfect. It can never be damaged. The idea there's mental retardation is a misnomer. Your mind is perfect. It's a matter of developing it.
Mm.
So you have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. There you have it. They're higher faculties. Study them.
Study them, like Bob said, right? And use your senses with them, right? Our conscious mind is the intellectual mind. That's where we create our thoughts. And it is through thought that we get our vibration, right? Is what he says. It's going to create that vibration to set us on the track to our result that we want. So just study and develop your higher faculties, right? So the reason, let's dive into reason. As humans, we think about anything and desire it because of the reasoning factor which we process, okay? The human being can think and act by using one of these faculties. Animate will act on pure instinct, or animals will act on pure instinct. The definition of the verb reason is to form conclusions, judgments, or interferences from facts or premises. Okay. It involves choosing or selecting certain facts or premises and using them to establish conclusions, judgments, or interferences. So you're basically using your reason to come up with the answer to your problem, right? You're using that reason to create the thoughts, is what Bob was saying. You come up with the conclusions. Okay, I don't need this. You pick through, you're ciphering. You have the analytical ability within you. This is your reasoning factor. I'm going to be honest. I'm not trying to promote or anything, but I'm developing this reason through understanding the financial markets. It's making my mind more analytical, and it's coming natural. I just had to put that out there, but that's what it's doing for me, right? It's making my mind more analytical. A person will choose their facts or premises from either of the two areas, which are ideas, which are formulated and which reside in their objective or conscious mind, and information conveyed to the objective or conscious mind through the physical senses. Okay, so something that we've picked up through information from somebody else or something we've experienced that's brought in that information, or we come up with the idea ourselves. Okay. Memory, as Bob said, nobody has a bad memory. Okay. And I specifically said that. Some people say they have a bad memory. I used to say it all the time when I was growing up. My memory's shot. I can't remember anything I used to say. But when I look back, I can remember quite a bit. Our memory is grand. We can develop it even more than what we think we have right now, right? It is one of our mental faculties that we were given. We can memorize anything we want to, and most people today can remember even when they were younger. I can remember back to when I was in preschool, right? Jim Rohn says, we may have weak memory, which requires us to strengthen it requires us to strengthen this mental faculty. Similarly to the way we build up our body muscles. By using and invalidating one of the faculties, such as this, the definition of memory is the mental capacity or faculty of retaining and receiving facts, events, impressions, etc. I forgot the T there, looks like, or of recalling or recognizing previous experiences, the facts and events and impressions, right? Experiences, etc. Perception. Two people can be looking at the same thing or object and can have two different opinions. It's like the optimist and the pessimist, right? Is the glass full or is it empty, right? Two people have their own opinion, right? In other words, they perceive things differently. In this instance, there is no right or wrong. They are merely different points of view. One definition of perception from the Webster's dictionary is the act or faculty of apprehending by means of the senses. So you're coming up with a decision by using your physical senses, right? And then actually making that decision, right? You're executing it. But your senses, you're using your senses. That's where your perception comes in. You're using this faculty with your perceptions to figure it out, right? Is basically what that said right here. Okay, so I'll just read it again. The act or faculty of apprehending by means of the senses or of the mind, okay? Expressed another way, we form a conclusion about a subject or object, either the information gained or the physical senses, sight, hear, taste, touch, and smell, or the ideas we formulate. Okay. So we either create it in our mind and figure it out there through our senses, or we formulate the ideas regarding said subject, right? Or object, yet another one of the faculties of the mind. Okay. Why is this highlighted? There we go. Before we move on to the next faculty, we need to underline a couple things which are highly recognized by anyone looking to achieve a goal or task. Okay. This next faculty that we will be mentioning allows us the ability to complete or achieve any of our heart's desires. This mental faculty is the will. Okay. And Bob specifically said in the video that Kennedy, one of our presidents, one of the best presidents, I think, by far, anybody out of the United States, said specifically to Warner von Braun, what would it take for a man to build a rocket ship, land safely on the moon, and come back at precisely the given second, right? And he said it was the will to do it, right? When we develop our will, we have the strongest focus, right? This will faculty allows us to focus. It gives us the ability to keep our focus. So our will gives us the ability to focus only on an idea and exclude everything else that exists in the mind, okay? Which sets it in motion and maintains it, okay? The proper use of this mental faculty of the will is to, so to say, keep a mental image fixed, okay? In the mind, uh, it may surprise you know that this is far simpler than it may first appear. Okay, this is far simpler than it may first appear. Once you properly understand what the will is, as well as what it is not, okay, it'll be easier said than, and it'll just be a simpler process once you understand. Okay. You see, we think in pictures. All right. For instance, if I asked you to tell me what the front of your house looks like, you would immediately see the front of your house, right? Try picturing your fridge. As I'm actually saying these things, the images are coming up. I see my front door. I just saw my fridge, right? Immediately, you're going to see that image, all right? Try picturing your car, possibly a piece of furniture. You would be able to describe it all in detail. You see, the mind operates on which we give it. Okay, the mind operates. We think of something as a thought, we're going to see a picture of it. It's just how the mind works. So the will grab hold of it. Okay, you'll grab hold of it. I thought this was the best picture to put in here, right? It's creative, the creative thought process. It's very creative when we start to really use our mind and how we can analytically decipher through different thoughts, right? And allow the right ones in. Not saying we're not going to have any challenges along the way, but these challenges are there to test us because our dreams are bigger than what we are, right? So we have to be tested of the current situations we are in so that we can go to the dream level that we're looking to get to. Okay. It happens. Don't feel discouraged when you're in a situation that is really maybe tied to emotion, right? Sometimes it's hard to separate our emotions from the things that we experience. Sometimes it's hard, and saying this from experience. Okay, I still I still have this, but it's not as much anymore, right? And we do this by understanding who we are, right? We understand who we are, and we have to ask certain questions. I don't want to dive off of this too much, but I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. Okay. So on to our next higher faculty. I'm just going to grab another drink here. Intuition. Intuition is the realization and recognition of the same condition or occurrence where said realization and recognition transpires. Okay. With seemingly little or no involvement of the individual physical senses. Okay, so it doesn't need the involvement of these senses when we've developed this faculty. We don't need to use our senses. It just happens, it just naturally occurs. Okay. The truth is that the intuition is a mental factor. We can define intuition as an instant idea or immediate answer we will receive without even thinking about it. Okay. And I'm going to explain an occurrence that happened to me. See, as I'm developing my intuition, certain things come up. See, I do believe today that to really develop your intuition, we have to really um, understand more of that inner side of us. But we have to really dive inwards. And excuse me, for me, the experience I want to share with you guys was it happened. I think it was a few months ago, and it had to do with my sister's cat. And we were like on the vibration of thinking, where is he? Where is he? Right? And then all of a sudden, um, I saw. I looked out the door because we have at the back door we have this screen there that kind of drapes down when we have the door open. We can not have any bugs come in, right? So we had that open, and what happened was I was looking out there, and I swear I saw him come across the fence. It was almost like a deja vu, right? You know, when you have those experiences, then all of a sudden it happens again. It was like one of those experiences. But I realized, I'm like, hold on. I saw that happen. And then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, there he is. There he is now. Right? It actually happened right after the fact. That's our 4 cent. Okay. That's our 4 cent. And it comes through our intuition, right? It comes as you develop your intuition. Your frontal lobe will start growing. Your third eye will open, and you'll start experience more things that you've never experienced before. Things are just going to start happening, right? So I wanted to share that experience with you because it really made me think, hey, what just happened? Right? So I just wanted to share that so then you guys can really take hold of what intuition can mean for you, right? So individual, we don't need the individual physical senses to really take hold of this. The truth is that the intuition is a mental factor. We can divide into hold on. I went a little behind here. Oh, it doesn't matter. The truth is that the intuition is a mental factor. We can define intuition as an instant idea or an immediate answer we will receive without even thinking about it. One meaning of intuition is the direct perception of the truth, fact, etc. Okay. So you're going to get a direct perception of that actual thing that you're thinking of, or like in my case, I had a direct answer immediately after I saw my sister's cat, right? Then it actually happened, right? It actually happened after that. Independent of any reasoning process. So it is very independent of the reasoning process, okay? You see, we have these cells called neurons, which make up the 6 faculties, okay? Our intuition can also be referred to as our inner knowledge. And with this inner knowledge attuned to our vibration, can either unlock the doors to your truest potential, or it'll take you in a direction you may not like, right? I call this the self, well, Bob calls it too, it's the self-doom fulfilling cycle, right? People also call it's the mountain, and some people call it it's a path. It's a a cycle, right? That we all go through, right? It's just something that we learn. It's we all learn this, right? So we just have to use the perception and really seek that inner knowledge, right? Remember, our thoughts create our feelings, which controls our emotions, and our emotions set up our actions, which then give us our results. Okay, you got to remember this. It's something that I've written high in big words in one of my books. And this is one of the books that I use almost on a daily basis. So I'm reading this all the time. So I have to remember what thoughts I'm bringing in, right? Because sometimes I'm in environments that that may be conflicting to the vibration that I'm trying to be on, right? Not everybody that I'm around have the same kind of vibration, right? They're learning how to become, but they're still on that lower. And I'm gonna my dad, for instance, right? He's learning specifically, and I'm helping him. I'm really am. He's learning from books that we're giving him and whatnot. But he's got some people around him that are contradicting that, right? So it's the people we listen to specifically. So we understand, who do you listen to? Who are you allowing to water your garden? Right? Jim Rohn says our mind is our garden, right? So really allow the flowers to bloom. I kind of got off a little bit of the script here, but that's something that I just got passionate to say. So, imagination. Imagination. This the imagination is one of the greatest miracles of the human being, okay? It it's the imagination that has allowed many things to be created. All great inventors that transformed our lives came by from this wonderful ability we hold. Knowing these higher faculties, how they work, we can develop and use them to achieve anything we want in our lives. Okay. Our creator, God, universe, whichever your faith, this divine intelligence has given us the tools we need. Our obedience is to develop them to the higher level. Okay. Imagination and our visualization may be simply defined as the formation of mental images or pictures. Okay. Whenever a person forms a thought or idea in their mind, he or she is forming an image which corresponds or matches to the thought or idea. As we mentioned before, we were talking about picture your house, picture your car, right? For example, if a person thinks of a boat, they don't particularly think of the word boat. They almost invariably form an image of a boat they have encountered at some previous moment in time. A boat seen only as a picture in a book or off a dock on the ocean. As you can see, whatever is impressed must be expressed. The trick is holding that picture long enough to impress it. Now, I do believe there are many ways that we interpret energy and utilize it, and it can be found through understanding how we ourselves connect to into this energy, as well as which of the tools are beneficial now. We have these faculties that we just spoke of, but we also have a chakra system. Okay. Our chakra system is how we interpret this energy that flows to and through us. But if we are not fully aligned, some energy can be blocked in parts of our body. Some is tied into the pain we haven't released properly. Okay. It's tied into some of the pain we have not released properly. And some is from generational karmic blocks. Okay. We, however, can shift our body out of this and completely rejuvenate ourselves. How is this done? I do believe today that it is by detoxing the body. Just like we detox our brains, we must do the same for our bodies. Our chakra system will start to open up as we do so. Also, our vibration level will rise and we will start to notice different things about ourselves. Maybe more creativity will pour out. I just know it is all in the divine purpose for you to succeed. Here is the chakras and a little description. So I added a picture here. You can see these wonderful balls of energy in line, perfect line in the center of us, right? We start with our root chakra. It provides the foundation on which we build life. It's how we ground ourselves. The energy force can be imagined as a and grown by envisioning a burning red energy ball, and it can't be penetrated. Okay, you can grow this and ground yourself by imagining a red energy ball field, and it could not be penetrated. Okay, the next one, as we move on, is the sacral chakra. It represents creativity and sexual energies and imbalanced attributes, right? It's it can also be seen as an orange energy ball, as you can see here in the picture. The solar plexus, which is the third one, it represents self esteem, pleasure, and willpower. It also can be known as the doorway to our heart chakra. It can be envisioned as yellow burning ball of energy. Okay. The heart chakra, it represents love, self-love, and it governs our relationships. A lot of emotion and or feelings are stored here. So it is really important that we start to notice, okay? As we open it up, we should start to journal, and we're going to start noticing that we're going to become more creative. And the pain will get easier if we write it down, because we'll be able to release it easier, right? This chakra can be envisioned as a burning emerald green energy, so radiant that it may be hard to look at. Okay. The throat chakra, it represents the ability to speak, communicate clearly, and effectively. This chakra can be envisioned as a burning blue energy force. The third eye chakra, it represents intuition, foresight, and it is driven by openness and imagination. This beautiful chakra can be envisioned as a burning purple force of energy. The crown chakra, it represents states of higher consciousness and divine connection. You're always inspired and empowered naturally when this is fully activated. And of course, with all these chakras aligned, you are completely in divine energy and you operate it, operate in it as well. The crown chakra can be envisioned as a fuchsia pink burning energy force. We use our energy lines to tap into our greatness. Understanding our chakra system is crucial to the understanding of our mental faculties slash tools. Because our chakras are used to, like I said, interpret the energy that flows to and through us all. This helps us with understanding into our vibration and how we must respond through this energy. Okay. Our chakra system allows us to interpret how to respond through this energy. Okay. Albert Einstein said, the imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution, right? And in the Bible, it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable, as well as perfect. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Okay. There's no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. So, what thoughts or ideas are flowing into your mind? Are you aware of the vibration it is creating in your body? When we are aware of something, that is when we start to change it. Use these tools, practice them daily, develop them. I can guarantee when you utilize these tools to their full capacity, it will change your results. It's like night and day. Okay. Study the lesson over and over. Learn how to develop your higher faculties. In my experience, the only way to develop these tools that we've all have is to continue understanding what they are and how we can use them for things. Okay. So study this lesson over and over again. You owe it to yourself. Okay. You owe it to yourself. So as we tie up this lesson, remembering that our thoughts turn into feelings, okay, which set up a vibration in our body, which in turn delivers our results. This is true to the most successful people today. In fact, once this is applied in your life, your results will change. Okay, it's like night and day. To see the results that are attached to your goals, your mind must be stretched to attain any financial quantum leap. The mind must be continuously hold the state or feeling of gratitude, other known as the money conscious and or spirit of opulence, and look to adversity as opportunity. Okay, because it is where it is found mostly. You are infinite beings with the capabilities to soar beyond anything you think could be possible for you. Okay. So these are the books. This is a great book that I'll click on it again, I guess. This is a great book.
This box is actually 27 years old. And I want to tell you what's in this box.
Pause. Thank you. The 12 daily practices to success, right? It's a great book. It's going to give you some practices that you can actually put into play to help you create success in your life, right? And I do believe along this, you should just write a gratitude list. If we can find 5 to 10 things that we're grateful for daily, it's going to lift our vibration. Okay. And then we go on to the spirit of opulence. Now, I couldn't give you my direct recording because for some reason it won't let me upload it. So I just went to YouTube to find the actual, it's the same thing that I have as a direct recording. So it'll be the exact same one. And this is going to show you how to really reframe the prosperity consciousness into your mind, right? The differences in between what money hungry, greed, and everything, all of it, what it looks like, right? It's going to show you in this audio. And our higher faculties, right? So Bob, obviously, he speaks highly of these our minds. So he's going to explain the higher faculties yet again for us in this video here in a little more description. Okay. And then we have the power of the subconscious mind. Guy, I recognize it. I highly actually recommend this book. I said recognize the first time, I believe. And I also give you the study notes for this book. This book is meant to be studied. It's almost like the Think and Grow Rich book. You have to study these books because there's a principles to apply in them, right? To apply to our daily lives. There's principles, just like the one that what I'm doing, I guess me and my sister are doing in another group, right? Psycho-cybernetics. There's principles in these books. We have to apply them to our lives. That's how we change. Okay. So I give you the book and I give you the study notes as well in this lesson. Well, I want to thank you guys for your time. And what did you think, Melissa? I know you missed the very end of it, but go ahead, and I know you caught most of it.
I enjoyed it. I loved it. I was listening to it, most of it. I just had to pop out real quick because somebody kept calling.
I've had that happen, yes. Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and you're welcome to the replay. And what I said at the very end was basically just to really study this lesson over and over, right? Learn how to develop the higher faculties. Because in my experience, the only way to develop these tools is that we all have to continue understanding what they are and how we can use them for things, right? That's how we develop them.
Yep. Repeat, repeat, repeat.
Absolutely. So I'm going to stop the recording.